Hello everyone, in this tutorial we will override the update or put method, demonstrating what needs to be done when performing a put request to our API. So first we get the object that we want to update from our database. Then we take the fields that need to be updated and assign the new values to them. And after that we save the new object and then return the updated object. And to demonstrate that, we will use two of the apps that we created previously. One with the nested data and the other one without nested data. And let's start with the Cars app. And inside here, if we look at the Cars model, it's a symbol model that represents car specs. And if we look here, we can see that we have a car brand, car model, production year, body, and type of the engine. So inside, if we go to views.py, we can simply see that we previously managed to override the get function or method and the post method. And now we need to override the put method. So let's define put method and add the parameters self, request, args, and key args. Okay. And then after that, inside this method, first thing we need to do is get the object from the database. So to do that, let's name it car object, for example, and let's use the model name, which is Cars.objects.get, and that will get us the object that we need to update. Obviously, because with the put request, the object ID is included in the URL at the end of the URL. So this is how this method gets or knows which object to get. So after that, we need to extract the data from the request. So let's just name a variable data equal request.data. After that, we need to update the object values to the new values that we received from the request. So in order to do that, we simply say car object dot, we start choosing the fields one by one. So if we go back to the model, we start with car brand and then car model until the end of the field. So we add here car brand equal data, and we put here the key of car brand value, so which is car brand, and the same thing goes for the rest of the fields. So dot car model equal data, and here we add car model key. Third one is production year equal same thing data, and we add production year. And what else? I think the body and the type. So car object dot car body equal data and the key, and the last one is the engine type. So engine type equal data, and we had here engine type. Okay, so after we updated the fields, we need to save the new model. So we simply say car object dot save. After we save the car object, we serialize the data of this object, then we return the serializer or the serialized data. So let's do that. Equal cars, we will use the cars serializer, and that we created in previous tutorials, and simply here we add the car object, and then we return a response with the serialized data. Let's test the put method now. In order to do that, first let's run the server. So we type python manage.py run server, and make sure your virtual environment is active. So now the server is running. Let's go to the postman, and inside here we need to add the URL for the cars view or cars model. So it's cars app /cars. Okay, let's perform a GET request and see what models we have, or what objects we have. And as you see here, we have only one object inside our database. That's BMW car with the model and year and other specs. So I want to update this information, and in order to do that, I need to request the object by its ID. So I'll do this. I'll add it to the URL, the ID of the object. So let's see if we can get it. As you see, we got it back the same object. And now we need to perform a put request, including the data or the new data that we need to add to the object. So let's change this to put, and inside here I'm just gonna copy the data or the JSON data from here, because the data that we need to send, it needs to look like this. Okay, it's simply an object with the fields inside and with the new values of each field, or value of each field. So let's, for example, update this year to 19, and let's say this is M4, and let's leave the rest as it is. So now I need to perform the put request. So if I click send, as you see, I got my object back with new data. As you see here, the M4 and 19. And as you see, guys, we managed to override the put method and update a specific object in our database through a put request. The next case we need to handle is updating an object that includes a nested data. And for that, we will use another app here, which is the first app, and we created that in previous tutorials. And inside here, if we go to models.py, we can see that we have two models here, the car specs and the car plan. And these models are linked using many-to-one relationship represented by car plan field here and the foreign key. So here, if we perform a GET request, we will see that we have a nested data inside car specs. So let's see that. So I'm gonna add the URL here, which is first app /car specs, and I'm gonna perform a GET request. And as you see here, we get two objects, and inside each object we have the car specs plus the car plan, which is an object nested inside the car specs object. So in order to update, for example, the first object here represented with the ID1, I need to handle the update method or the update request differently. And in order to do that, let's go to our view here inside views.py, and inside here I'm going to define an update method. And why it's update here, not put? And that's because we are using a ModelViewSet from ViewSets here, not an API view. So I meant to use two examples to show you guys how to override a put method inside an API view and do the same thing inside ModelViewSet. So let's carry on with the code. So here, this method will take the same arguments, self, request, args, and key w args. And first thing we need to do is get the object that we need to update. And let's name it car object. Use the same name. And it's equal to self.get object. So that will be enough to get the object. When we use the API view, we had to write the name of the model, for example, Cars.objects.get. But inside a ModelViewSet, we just need to say self.getObject. After that, we need to extract the data from the request. So we simply type data equal request.data. The next thing we need to do is get the car plan object. So to do that, let's name it car plan equal, and we'll use the car plan model name dot object dot get, and we'll use the plan name for that. So plan name equal data, and we'll give it the key plan name. So we'll use the plan name to update the car plan. After that, we assign this value to the car plan field. So we say car object dot car plan equal car plan, and then we add the rest of the fields, which is the car brand, car model, and the rest of them. So because they are similar to the previous example, so I'm just gonna copy paste them just to save time. So here we managed to add all the objects, or all the fields I mean. So the next step is to save the model. .save. After that, we serialize this object using the car specs serializer. We pass the object, and then we return the serialized data. So that should do it. Let's save it and wait for the server to rerun. And now if we go to Postman, and let's try to update the first object. So let's request the ID. So now that we have the first object, we need to include the new fields that I need to update. Let's add the curly brackets here. So these are the basic fields from this object, and we need to add one more field, which is the plan name for the car plan. And because this object was linked to the second plan, I want to change that now to the first plan. By changing the plan name, and I can also change the other fields. So let's say, for example, it's M4 2019, and let's change this to fuel, for example. And now we perform a put request, and all the fields or all the data should be updated. So let's do that. And as you see here, we got the updated object back with the new data. As you see here, the nested object is the first plan, not the second plan anymore. And the rest of the fields also have been updated. And now some of you might be wondering, what if I want to update one field only, like the production year only, or the model? Do I need to send the whole object just to update one or two fields? And the answer for that is no. You can update one field or two fields only using what's called partial update or batch request, which is listed here if you see batch, and that's responsible for partial update. And we will be talking about that in the next tutorial, how to perform a partial update one field or two fields inside ModelViewSet and ApiView as well. And we will see how can we implement the partial update inside the update method of our viewset and ApiView without the need to override the actual partial update method. So that's it guys for this tutorial. I hope it was useful, and if you're looking forward for more content like this, please like and subscribe to get notified every time I release a new video, and until the next one.